makeup is Make Way for
There you go.
Tomorrow.
Yes. A film by Leo McCarey, who also directed...
Duck Soup?
Right. Directed Duck Soup. A very different film this time
Yeah.
from Duck Soup.
He mostly made comedies, but this one, apparently, he was quite passionate about making. It
Which I think
spoke to him.
comes through.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like this movie is being made with a point, and it feels like it is probably not a movie that, like, I think Paramount released it. I don't think they were probably, like, super gung-ho about it. I think they actually wanted to change the ending significantly, but
they did, and they basically just released it like just enough to make its money back and really focused on other things, which was why it's not super well remembered, even though it's incredible. It's very, very good.
It is a good film. Also, I think you told me this initially, but I also read it that Liam McCarey won the Oscar for Best Director for a different film, for The Awful Truth, which is a Cary Grant comedy. But in his acceptance speech, he was like, "You gave me this for the wrong film."
Yeah,
that was released this year, which is a kind of power move, I think. He'd be like, "Thanks for the Oscar and all, but also like this movie's garbage compared to the other one that I made." That's not what he said, but yeah, this movie is not what I expected when it started.
Right.
I think this movie kind of sets up a certain type of movie and then doesn't take the kind of easy route that I think it could have.
Right.
Based on like the first 10 minutes.
I mean, it's a complex film. It's like dealing with very subtle, complex human emotions and like social forces that I think are more subtle than what a lot of other stuff is attacking here. What were you expecting the movie to be?
I was expecting it to be, I guess, more from the perspective of the adult children. And for the first half, it kind of is, right? Their parents having to move in with them and the troubles that ensue from that. I was expecting maybe something a little bit more comedic and a little bit more check out these cranky old people and like what shenanigans they're causing. And there's a little bit of that in this movie, but it mostly, I think, by the end of it, certainly it goes into, I think, more interesting, nuanced, and kind of heartbreaking territory than that.
Yeah, literally, like I get like I start like crying when I start describing the plot of this movie to people.
There was a moment part of the way through the movie where I kind of realized what kind of movie it was really going to be, and it didn't end up, this movie didn't make me like full on like cry or weep. It made me kind of well up. But there was a moment like a third of the way in where I was like, oh shit, this movie might really get me. Like this movie might really like stir up some stuff inside my heart. And yeah, I don't know, there's parts of it that I find kind of maybe a little clunky, but on the whole, I don't know. It's not that I have a low opinion of movies from the 1930s, because clearly we've watched a lot of good ones, but I think that this type of movie isn't really what I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing kind of like zippy screwball comedies or like kind of proto-noir crime films, or a lot of things that we have talked about on the podcast already. And this is like just this kind of like a lightly heartbreaking drama about like just
aging,
like reflecting on life, like as an elderly person.
Wild Strawberries core. I mean, I think that like I think that this, when I'm watching this movie, you feel something which I think I feel occasionally watching these old movies, which is that this is just not the type of movie that people make anymore. Like the stakes are too low, it's too small, it's too zeroed in on one idea for the whole length of the movie. But I think it's like better for it because it's telling an extremely human story.
Yeah, this would be a Black Mirror episode now.
God. So yeah, like you were saying, the basic setup is that there are like some grandparents with some adult children, and they bring them together to say, hey, everybody, the grandpa, like, I can't work anymore. I haven't been able to work for the last couple of years. And the money caught up with us, and now our house is getting foreclosed on. They gave us 6 months, and 6 months ends on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And
which already is like very timely, very, like Great Depression, a lot of people losing their homes.
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's still a thing that happens now, obviously, but like I'm kind of surprised at how often the kind of like economic troubles come up in 1930s movies. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of under the impression that a lot of 30s movies, and a lot of them do, just completely ignore that, or just like look at some fun stuff, don't worry about this. But like even something like King Kong, which is like a fantastical dinosaur adventure film, is like the first, I don't know, 10 minutes of that movie, you're like, man, it's rough living through the Great Depression, huh? So yeah, I don't know, that's just a thing that I have been continuously kind of like struck by, is like how much that like movies are really hitting that hard. Movies are like, we know, we get it.
Yeah, and maybe like more and more as it goes through the Great Depression. I feel like maybe in the beginning it was a bit more escapist, and
yeah,
but it's hard to track it fully.
The grandparents, because the adult children, one, because they kind of don't want them to come live with them, but also because they're like, we don't have any room, like we have lives of our own, like none of us can take both of you. So like the grandmother is gonna have to live with one family, and then the grandfather's gonna have to live with a different family in like a different state, far
Like
away from each other.
300 miles apart, and they're like, this is the solution for like 3 months, and then we will get you back together in some way, or like think about like moving you into like one of the other kids' houses. But like they've never spent this much time apart from each other, and
for 50 years.
Yeah. And so they are having a sad time, they're having a rough time integrating with the lives of their kids. Their kids are having a hard time dealing with them, and they miss each other a lot. I think this early part of the movie has some very well observed scenes of the ways that old people are annoying.
Yes. Although I also thought the movie was going to go harder on that than it does.
Right. It's kind of like, it's kind of cute, it's like they
Right.
talk too loud on the phone, and at first it's bothersome, but then she says something really sweet on the phone, and and everyone at the bridge class, like,
yeah.
they're at first annoyed, but then they are like, oh, I'm so gripped.
Right. Everyone who's in this bridge class, who are all in like gowns and tuxedos, one of the kids is like, well, I gotta make sure my tuxedo shirt is pressed for the bridge class tonight. I'm like, you're in your own house. You don't have to wear a tuxedo, man. 1930s, I guess. Like, hey, it's after 6 o'clock. I gotta wear a tuxedo. But yeah, I think because like that scene is one where there's like, we're having a bridge class. We can't have grandma like hanging around, talking to people, and
her rocking chair squeaking.
And it's like all these, like, yes, old people can be frustrating to be around at times, or annoying in ways, and all those things are true. And yet I think that the movie, I think for this section, at least early on, we're kind of supposed to be in the kid's perspective a bit more, and sort of like looking at it like, oh, grandma and her loud rocking chair, and her wants to talk to everybody, and like
can't read the room.
I'm like, if I showed up to a bridge class at this person's house and their mom was there knitting in a rocking chair, and like, I would be like, let her hang out. Like, she's not bothering anyone really.
You're embarrassing
like,
my bridge students.
She's so sweet. Like, she's not coming in there and like insulting anybody. She's not being racist. She's not doing any of the things that old people can do that are like actually disruptive.
I mean, in fact, the old people in this movie are less racist than their kids.
They are notably the least racist characters in the film.
Which is interesting. I think it goes to show ways that the kids are inconsiderate, and
yeah.
The old people, they're a little blind to certain things, but they care.
Yeah. I mean, the movie does address this towards the end, but the kids in this movie are so awful. The like the adult children, I mean, like the middle-aged characters, whatever.
Yes.
I found their sort of like how quickly they were like, "Oh God, like grandma, get out of here." It's like, what are you talking? Like she's not doing anything; she's just hanging out. They are so put off by having them around, seemingly immediately. I know that time does pass like off screen. I immediately was like very put off by how awful the children were.
I mean, I think it is they're awful in a very realistic way though. Like
Yeah, it's
like
totally believable, but it's
yeah.
I was just like, oh, like they're so terrible.
I mean, I think that like it's got this interesting thing going on where like it really understands this dynamic between annoying old person and too short of temper
Hmm.
like younger person.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think there's a lot of this movie that rang true for me because I had a notoriously annoying grandma. Uh and like she like all this stuff that they did and more, like my grandma was extremely tone deaf and saying the wrong thing all the time, and a lot of the people around her and in the generation below her got really annoyed with her.
Sure. Yeah. Although I will also say I met your grandmother several times, was never annoyed by her. Which is maybe where I'm coming at from this, like looking at this movie. I'm like, I don't know. I think if old people are not being like actively disruptive, which maybe in some cases they are, just the lack of kind of grace extended to them in this
Yeah.
movie was like, and it's the point of the movie is that there is this generational disconnect, and it's like, right, the adult kids are embarrassed to have them around is like
Yeah.
such a big part of it. It's like they're not actually doing anything that terrible. It's just that it's like, oh, it's like get out of here.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I totally relate to that, on that level.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
you know, there were a lot of ways that I was annoyed at my grandma, but I tried to give her as much patience as I could. And I think by the end of her life, like, I was honestly like one of the only people that was still nice to my grandma, which
well,
is
I also
like,
think that this sort of like a thing that I think is kind of portrayed in this movie is that there's the granddaughter character
right,
who's college age, so she's like, I don't know, 19, 20.
less baggage with her.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like she gets along with the grandmother a lot better.
Hmm. She's still kind of annoyed at her, but like,
Right,
not,
she's like she doesn't want to bring like friends over to the apartment anymore because like oh Granny's hanging out in the living room. There's still I feel like they have they actually talk and like have a rapport and like right there's the scene where like they go to the movies and you're like oh I gotta bring grandma to the movies and then the granddaughter leaves and comes back and she's like I saw you with that boy in the car and she's like don't tell anyone and the grandma's like I won't like great
yeah.
secret done and then when the mom finds out she's like how dare you not tell me it's like because of trust I don't know like that's a very reasonable thing I think
Don't try and parent my kids
um
for me. Don't try and make my decisions for me. Yeah.
yeah
It's
which again is like it's an understandable place from for a character to come from but I think I wonder if this movie would have maybe worked better if the grandparents were slightly more annoying than they are
hmm.
because they're so sweet is the thing like every scene with them you're just like oh they are genuinely just worried about like how everyone else is doing at all times. They're like, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to like cause trouble. Like I don't want to do this and
Right,
that.
but
And yet,
they can't help but be a burden, right?
right?
Which
Yeah.
I think it works that they're not this annoying because they're not more annoying because it just speaks to like, you know, you've been around the same people your whole like your parents your whole
Mm,
life, right? And
yeah.
like you've built up all of this stuff and so you have like no tolerance with them, right?
Yeah.
And I you can see the effects of that in their
During
children.
like COVID times, I moved back in with my parents for like a year, and that was on one hand a lovely time that I very much enjoyed spending more time with them than I had in a while. But also it's like oh parents you're annoying, leave me alone.
Parents
And
just
it's
don't
just like
understand.
and it's like through no fault of their own, right? It's purely just like I have just ingrained shit from my entire life where it's just like if they look at me the wrong way, I'm like, ah, how dare you, you know?
Right, right.
So it's like, it makes sense.
Yeah. a lot of the movie is focused on the grandma, but we kind of hop back and forth between her
Yeah.
and the grandpa who is staying with a different kid in a different area. Um,
And that kid is worse, to be fair. Like, the kid that the grandpa is staying with is definitely way meaner
yeah,
and way worse.
like the best thing that she does is stop her husband from saying kick him out immediately.
Yeah.
A lot of the grandpa's story kind of concerns his friendship that he finds with a local shopkeeper who is also an old guy, and so they bond over being old guys.
Yeah.
That, you know, he kind of has this friendship separate from his daughter that he's staying with, because he can tell that his daughter doesn't want him in the house ever, so he just leaves and hangs out in the shop with this guy. And when she finally sees him for the first time, she thinks that so he's Jewish, conspicuously Jewish in the movie, and then she kind of acts anti-Semitically toward him when she sees him for the first time, thinking he's, you know, trying to sell her something, or like I don't know, like she's suspicious of him. And he's like, no, my friend, your dad, is sick, and I brought him some soup. My wife made him some
It's like,
soup.
what's in that soup? I didn't make that soup. And it's like, it's just soup. Calm down.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's just like a lot of like really small petty injustices that are brought against these people for just existing, and you just feel worse and worse over the, you know, watching the 3 months that they're apart and longing for each other,
Right, because
and
they're dealing with all this, like, you know, stuff with their kids being angry that they're even around, and then on top of that, they're separated from their spouse that they've been married to for 50 years, and they're like writing letters back and forth and talking on the phone every time. It's just like, oh,
yeah.
cut my heart out and throw it in a river.
And the whole time you're like, can't some of these kids just, can't one of them just
right,
let two of them be there? Like, do you have
Right,
to be this
yeah.
cruel, you know?
but it's also, I don't know, that is like a thing that I have like seen in real life, of just like, oh, how do you deal with people that you love that don't have a place to stay, or, you know, can't take care of themselves in certain
Yeah.
ways. Just like, that happens when people get old, and there isn't really a great answer for it.
Yeah. It's difficult no matter what.
And I think I like how this movie is putting a pin in that, of like, yeah, there's no like great solution here where everyone is happy. Like, someone's gonna have to kind of put up with a lot of kind of maybe petty annoyances, but it's still like they're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, the way that this movie wraps up is very
Yeah. You know, getting close to the end of their 3 months apart, the grandpa gets sick, which is why the shopkeeper friend of his is bringing him soup. And like by the time they see each other again, he's over it. But
I was so worried
yeah,
in that section. Yeah.
but the daughter that he's staying with, like, she's like, oh, an excuse to get rid of him. Like, we're gonna send him away to California where he won't have to face the winters.
Yeah.
And
To the other sibling that no one talks to anymore, who like no
Yeah.
one's in touch with. They're like, oh, she moved to California, and no one knows what she's up to.
And so she's just like, great, I can get rid of him by sending him away with a justification that he is
He needs
sick.
warm weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the grandma is getting annoying enough to her son and his wife that they start considering putting her in a home.
Well, there's this kind of incident that happens with the granddaughter, where she is the person that she's kind of like secretly dating, that the grandma knows about, is 35, and so she's like, don't tell my parents that like I'm dating an older man. And then something happens where like the police call, and then it is never addressed again, and they're like, oh, this is all grandma's fault because she didn't tell us that she was dating this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what happened? You can't just leave that hanging, just like they give you no other context whatsoever, because then also like the daughter's back and everyone's seemingly happy after that. It's a weird sort of like vague just like black hole in the movie where it's like something happened, and it's like, you could explain that to us maybe, but I guess not.
So yeah, they think about sending her to a home.
Which they visited before, and the grandma's like, terrible, awful place.
Yeah.
Never want to go there.
Yeah. Spoilers, but this is my favorite movie of the episode by far. I would highly recommend that people watch this. We talk about spoilers every time, but go and watch this. But anyway,
it's short too.
Yeah. So the grandma like finds the letter of them like inquiring about the home, and she knows what's going on, and she kind of makes this decision to take the guilt and burden off of her son for the horrible thing that he's doing to her, and say, like, propose it to him like it was her idea to go to that specific
She's like,
home.
I'm not really enjoying myself staying here. I think I'm gonna go stay in that nice home that we visited. I think that would be the best thing for me. And you can kind of see, I think, in their faces that they both know what she's doing.
Yeah.
Like the son, it kind of immediately clocks like, oh, she saw the letter. Like she's doing this to kind of like alleviate our guilt. But it's like, he doesn't call her out on it, you know? But so then the grandma's staying in New York City, and the grandpa comes to visit before leaving for California.
Yeah. They've been apart for 3 months, and they have 5 hours together.
Yeah.
And this whole last section of the movie, I was a damn mess. I was a mess.
Yeah. This is where the movie goes from being like, oh, this is an interesting movie, to being like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it's like it starts them just kind of like walking through the park and through like New York City, and they're a car salesman is like, hey, you want to buy a car? And they're like, no, but he's like, you want to ride in this car? And they're like, sure, I guess. Like, if you're offering us a free ride in your car, yeah. Which I was like, oh no, like they're gonna get like kidnapped or something. I was like, no, it's fine. So they go to the hotel where they had their honeymoon 50 years prior, and they're like going to the hotel and like explaining to everyone like why they're it's like, oh, we were here and it was so different, and saying old people stuff. But everyone outside of their family is super nice to them, because they're like, you're great. Like, we'd love to have you stay at our come to our hotel and eat lunch. Like this, yeah.
You're a cute old couple. Like, you guys,
right?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are so sweet. Like, please, by all means, like, come hang out. And so they had this like wonderful day in New York City where they like are visiting their old haunts, and like they like go out into the dance floor in this like fancy hotel ballroom, and like as soon as they get out there, they're like the tempo changes to like a upbeat like swing dancing song. Yeah, they're like, oh, we don't know how to dance.
Yeah, it starts off as something that they could recognize, like a waltz or something, and
but then the conductor sees that there's like the two old people in the corner like don't know how to dance to swing music, and he's like, hang on, and he like stops the music and like starts the like slow waltz again, and like makes eye contact with them and like nods, and he's like, I see you, I got you, don't worry. Yeah. And meanwhile, all of the adult children are like, they're like worried initially about like where they are, because they were supposed to meet them, but then the grandpa calls from the hotel and is like, hey, we're having a grand old time, we're not coming to dinner.
Yeah.
And they're like, how dare you, like, we made this whole meal for you. And it's like, first of all, let them do whatever they want.
Right.
Also, you can eat a meal by yourself.
And the thing
they're never like, okay, be careful, like, okay, like, I'm glad you're okay. None of that. They get none of that from the kids.
And the whole meal was an insult to them, right? Like, it's their children are taking control of their lives. Like, these, you can see in this day out that they're having in New York City, they can handle themselves. Like, the dad is too, like, his vision is too bad and he's too weak to work. Mm-hmm. But like, he's not completely incapable of existing. But like, this dinner is the children's farewell to both of them. And they're just like, oh, we can finally wash our hands of this. And like, they both know what this means, they're escaping their children who are dominating their lives. I mean, and this is the thing that's like so heavy about this last part, is they're having like a great day, but there's this awareness that like
Mm. Mhm.
these might be some of their last hours they ever have together.
Yeah. This is where the eyes start to well up,
Yeah.
because right after this great day, and they're like, fuck off, kids that are being mean to us.
Yeah, like let us enjoy our time, basically.
Right, yeah. So they have this like wonderful day, and then it's like it's time for the train. Like, husband needs to leave to go to California, and there's this like protracted scene of them like saying goodbye at the train station. And they never say this, it is never explicitly stated or anything, but it is this thing you feel it through their performances, that it's like they are both approaching this conversation as if it is the last time they will ever speak.
Yeah, because one of them's going to a home upstate New York, the other one is going to California. They're both old, and like they, it would be a whole thing for them to visit each other,
Yeah.
and so because their kids found them too annoying to deal with, they have to spend their last years apart from each other and say their goodbyes, like assuming that they'll never see each other again. It's horrible. It's so heartbreaking.
And then, right, you think that like after this scene, right, the train leaves, and I'm like, oh man, can't wait to see what happens next. Nothing. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah,
the movie ends with just like the grandmother like watching the train pull away, and kind of
you
like
just kind of study her face and like see what's going on for her. And yeah, oof.
Oh boy.
Peter Bogdanovich asked Orson Welles about this movie, and he said, "Oh, it's the saddest movie ever made. This could make a stone cry."
I mean, probably. I mean, at least for when I don't know. There've been some sad-ins that we've watched for this show, I think, also. But yeah, this one I really appreciate it also how kind of so much of what is sad about this movie is done purely through performance. It's purely through like how lines are being delivered, or how the look on someone's face as they're speaking. Or looking at someone else that is just like says so much and is like so
yeah. And like I was saying before, just like very, along with the subtle acting, like very well observed details, both like about the ways that old people can be annoying, but also the ways that young people mistreat old people casually.
Right. Yeah. Without like active malice or even like thinking about it, of just like, I gotta deal with this now.
Yeah. This movie's incredible.
Yeah. There is a line when they're walking through the city where they see a sign that says "Save while you're young," and they both turn to each other and say, "Find time to tell us," which I thought was very good. There is levity in this film as well. It is also there are some zingers here and there.
And there is some kind of metatextual levity in this, in that like there's a rebellious teen. And the things, and she's like, "Ooh, let's play bridge. Oh, I'm gonna listen to this wild new music. It's called Big Band."
Oh, being corrupted. That stuff is kind of unintentional levity, maybe. Yeah, I feel like the granddaughter is kind of framed as like she's this like, oh, she's like a rebellious teen. She's like getting into trouble, and it's like she seems very well behaved to me. Like she is not,
I mean, problematic age gap, but aside.
Yeah. You were saying how I think both the like main actors are playing much older than they were at the time that they shot this.
Yeah, they're in their like 40s or 50s, but they have makeup on the whole time to play like 70s, like late 70s, I think.
Right. I don't know if they're even supposed to be that old, right? Aren't they supposed to be like I think they're both supposed to be around 70. But see, that's the thing, is like even now I'm like, oh yeah, 70. They're like old, but not like that old.
Hey, George Miller made Fury Road when he was 70.
Right? He made Furiosa when he was like 80.
Yeah.
So there you go. There were certain things in this where I thought it was kind of funny how even in 1937 there's like clear cut like old people behavior.
Yeah.
Because like anyone alive in 1937 is very old now.
And they're the people doing the old people behavior now.
Right, but it's like there's certain things where it's like old people are loud They like there's just like certain things like that where it's like in every generation
Yeah.
has like certain gripes with old people or like behaviors that people just start to exhibit when they get old that I thought was kind of like
Hmm.
even though this movie's, you know, very old itself, there's like that stuff still
It
carries.
felt very universal.
Hmm. A couple of character actor shout outs from movies that we've either talked about or are just like well known. The kind of son that we spend the most time with, who's the one that the grandmother is staying with, is played by Thomas Mitchell, who is a very prolific 1930s actor. He's probably maybe best known for It's a Wonderful Life,
Hmm.
but he's in like a bunch of other Frank Capra movies.
Capra, yeah.
And then another similar guy who shows up in this movie is the mean not stepson, son-in-law, who's like married to the mean daughter, who's like kick them out, is played by Porter Hall, who is also like kind of a mainstay of like 30s 40s movies. He was in The Thin Man. He's in Miracle on 34th Street. He was in what's another movie? I feel like we watched another movie with him recently. Petrified Forest. He's the dad in Petrified Forest who has his like weird vigilante crew that he like runs out with. And I think it's funny that this Porter Hall always plays guys who suck. Like he's like that was his niche as an actor, was like we need just an annoying asshole that the audience is going to be like, oh fuck this guy. It's like cast Porter Hall, like he'll do great. So I'm sure he was hopefully a lovely man off camera. I just think it's funny that it's like in every movie that I've seen him in, he is just like, oh, this guy is the worst.
You got that face sometimes, you know.
He's the guy in Miracle on 34th Street who like gets in a fight with Santa Claus.
Haven't seen it.
Even Santa Claus is like, you know what? This guy deserves like a bonk on the head. Like this is the only language this guy will understand. Like I need to hit him.
And some of this Mr. Deeds justice here.
Exactly. There's a Frank Capra thing. He was just like folksy small town Americana, like sweet like goodness of the heart. Also like if someone's annoying you, you free reign to punch them in the head. So yeah, no, well, character actor corner.
Character actor corner, everybody. After we got a litany of them in Star is Born.
Yeah. I feel like we like didn't even mention half of them were in A Star is Born.